Welcome to Let's Talk Curation series in partnership with GDB, your curated data partners. Okay, guys, this today we're going to address a question that always comes up in a conversation, at least in my training calls, in my sales calls, you name it. It's we already have PMPs. Why do we need curated audience? This is like one of the most common question I hear, especially from people who are still getting comfortable with programmatic, or they're getting comfortable with this whole idea of curated audiences, or they're getting comfortable with this whole idea of, you know what, I don't have to do it all. I can maximize this partnership by inviting this partner to help me out and doing this audiences. Okay, so PMP also stands for private marketplace deal. I don't know why we say PMP instead of PMPD, right? Like private marketplace deal, private marketplace. Anyway, at a high level, PMP and curated audiences solve different problems. Okay, let's start there. But a PMP is primarily about access. It gives you a direct line to a specific type of publisher inventory, giving you a little bit more control over where your ads can run against, like, the open exchange that we covered in the previous lessons. A curated audience is about who you're trying to reach and how the inventory and signals work together to support that goal. PMPs are already available to you via DSP. A curated audience, usually you have to have your curator, access to that curator in order to put that audience together. And it's super easy to literally set it up in a DSP, is via deal ID. Honestly, like the setup should not even be tripping you. That's how easy it is. So if we use the example that we used previously about traveling, a PMP is like choosing an airline and the route. You're deciding where your flight want to go, which carrier, whatnot. A curated audience, again, is selecting that carrier, earning bonus points, knowing what you're going to eat, why you're choosing this trip. Also bring it together with experience, right? You always feel satisfied after getting on that flight because you invested, it's a great, and then you save times anyway. So there's a lot of benefits to both PMPs and curated audience. And so in my professional experience, I have used opportunities to test PMPs in a certain vertical with a certain type of publishers or media owners. And then based on that, I've reached out to more specific vendors or partners to ask them to make a curated audience. Hear me out. I would use a PMP in Media Math in our marketplace is usually curated to what my needs. And so I see that in retail, we have actually in Media Math has a really legit retail e-commerce inventory and supply access. And so I see that a bunch of them have, household product in-store visitors type of audiences in their deals, right? And so I reach out to GDB and I say, listen, here's my campaign, here's my brands, here's my goals, here's the strategy basically, which is KPI, targeting information, which is what kind of audiences, geographical area that we're reaching, any specific targeting levers that we are focusing on, the KPI, what is my success metric, CPA, CPM, CPC, CTR, whatever it looks like for you, and then the timeline, and then the type of budget. Budget can help as well. And so I'm sending that message to GDB and I say, we tested some Media Math deals in our marketplace. It worked really well. We want to do more of this. Can you do something like that? And then they send back a specific curated audience based on my strategy. We tested and boom. Okay. So I have used PMPs in the past either to build onto that existing partnership. So let's say if it's a PMP from, again, an SSP, an OpenX, then we select them. Or we're testing a bunch of PMPs in the same categories, the same industry vertical, you name it, and the same type of goals and strategy. And then I'll reach out to specific curated any curation partner like GDB because I've worked with them and say, hey, this is working really well. Can you do something else? Can you do something better? Can you do something where you can layer attention metrics, for instance, which I know they can because I've used them. Okay. So that's the biggest difference between PMP and curated audiences. Again, you can literally, I've seen people test all three in once: open exchange, curated audiences, and PMPs. Okay. And then they've moved budget where it made the most sense, not where it was the least expensive, because again, that does not equate higher performance. Let's be clear. Okay. But what makes sense to you? Having a curated audience can literally shape the rest of your strategy because you understand who you're targeting, how this inventory came together. It's clear. It's a clearer path Think about this, okay? And so in my report in front of the clients or in front of the stakeholders on this team, I'm able to comfortably, confidently, and creatively explain this audience is this because I know that this partner have sent this type of data, right? Because I shared data with them as well. And they're telling me this is the type of audience. It's performing X amount more. We've spent more here. The CPM's average may be higher. However, my ROAS is like 15x compared to the other strategy that are maybe at a 3 or 4 or 5. It's still pretty positive though, but this is how you're supposed to see it. So again, one should not be better or lesser than the other. You just need to understand your strategy for real life. You just need to maximize that tool if you're using Media Math, how to leverage that curated marketplace that we have access to. Add your own because we are all composable. We're really proud to be a composable platform. And so we want you to bring some of your partners with you. And if you do, consider testing GDB's audiences. Okay. So see you on the next lesson. And I hope this was helpful.